Good evening, everyone. It's such a pleasure starting this program with you this evening. This is the 13th edition of our Building Bridges webinar. And our usual host, Benjamin Abaoni, is not here today. So I'm sitting in for him and hoping we'll have an exciting time as we always do. This is the second edition of our last month's program where we talked about exploring educational scholarships opportunities in Europe and in Asia. And last month, we were able to work totally on undergraduates. What kind of opportunities are there? When should you start applying? How do you apply? What qualifications do you need? And so we were able to handle undergraduate educational opportunities last month. This month, we said we'll focus on postgraduate scholarship opportunities because we all know that so many people are out there saying, yes, I finished my education in Nigeria, but for better life chances, I want to go abroad, but I can't afford the resources. So we need to go abroad, but how do we go there? How do we get there? How do we get financing? And so we find there are so many opportunities available, scholarship opportunities available, but we don't even know about them, which is why today we have our guest who is going to speak to us. And so I'd love to introduce to you our speaker today, who spoke to us last month very, very effectively on the topic, Mrs. Ololade Okorie, who is a travel and education consultant with Trip Solutions Limited. She will be the one taking us today in conclusion of what she started last month. Also joining us later, she should have been here now, will be the managing partner of Tisu Consulting Limited, Mrs. Sarah Jose Adeogun, who also is someone who has worked in the sector where you have to give out scholarships when she was with Shell, and she was in charge of the Shell Scholarship Program. She will also be here to tell us what you need to do to be able to get those scholarships, because even Shell till now still handles scholarships, but not just for undergraduates, even for postgraduate. So there's so many things to take away from here. And if you missed last month's session, we dealt with undergraduate. It will be such a good one for you to go back, listen to it, pick up some things from there that you can add to what we're going to discuss about today. We'll have short time. Normally, we would normally take this program in an hour, but we want to have people have opportunity to ask their questions today also. So if you have questions, please go ahead and start dropping them so that when the time is right, we'll take those questions and I will be able to attend to some. Mrs. Ololade will be able to attend to some, and Mr. Jose Adeogun will also be able to attend some of those questions as they come up. So please join me to welcome our sister, Mrs. Ololade Okorie, who's just going to give us a brief recap of what we did last month and then go ahead to tell us what we need to do for postgraduate scholarship opportunities. Welcome again, everyone, and looking forward to a wonderful, awesome time today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mrs. Satonda. Good evening, everyone. It's nice to see you all here today. They say knowledge is power, and what you know determines the choices that you make. We will start off by just doing a preview of what we did last week so that because the introduction is the same thing for both postgraduate and undergraduate, but there's some things that we would like to point out. Yes, if you can share the slide, please. Okay. Can you scroll up? Like we said last week, we said oftentimes people think that getting a scholarship can really be a very daunting task, but it's for you to understand what are the basic requirements for selection, the documentation required, and the scholarships, because scholarships have gained popularity over the years, is for you to find out where will be most suitable for you. Where means which country will be most suitable for you, and what determines that might be your course, your field of study, because some countries have better advantage with some courses, sciences, engineering, computer, and the rest of them. So it's for you to determine where do you have the greatest chance or the greatest opportunity. So what is it? We were able to differentiate between a scholarship and a grant. A scholarship is a financial award given to students that could pay throughout their education. It can be full, it can be a full scholarship, it can be a partial scholarship, depending on which one you are given. A full scholarship will cover your travel, your tuition, your books, and your living expenses, while a partial scholarship might just cover only your tuition. So it means that your living expenses you will take care of by yourself. But you find out that grants are awarded based on financial needs, either by the government or by the college. So most times you find that you are already in school, the school finds out that you are unable to pay for a particular year, they will give you a grant for it. Oftentimes the grants, it might you might repay and you might not repay. It depends on what the school actually decides on that. And there are so many scholarships there based on merit, subject based, leadership based. It all depends on what type of scholarship you are looking for and how you go about it to get it. Then we looked at also, why do we need scholarships? Scholarships open doors for global opportunities, because of course when you study outside of your country, it's a new education system, a new country. There are new possibilities for you there also. And then it also reduces your financial strain. Of course, it's very expensive to actually study abroad. So if something takes away that very huge responsibility, almost 12,000 per year for 2, 3, 4 or 5 years that you are going to be studying, or 2 years for masters, that's a huge then it has rewarding academic excellence. Scholarship awards don't always end with monetary assistance only. Sometimes it comes with recognition of your work, dedication, your talent, their leadership attributes that are also given to you during this time. Because we said one of the things we talked about last week was that some scholarships already have internships and work, and you also have work-based opportunities attached to them. So as you are studying, you are getting practical experience from such scholarships also. Then you also have support personal growth for you. When you get a scholarship and you go to live somewhere else aside from your home country, you know you are building up yourself, independence, confidence. You have a global outlook of things, and then your personal growth too. You are growing personally, because you have left the shores of where you are going somewhere else to be able to study. And then we also looked at, finally, it improves your career prospects. You will agree with me that most times when they see a foreign degree, they always want to there's always that preference for it. And then when you study abroad too, there's networking. What we mentioned last week, that one of the very strongest alumni that we have in Nigeria is the Chebney Scholarship alumni and the INSEAD scholarship alumni. You will find people like Okonjo Iweala, Ezekwesili. They were all INSEAD people, and you find that is the kind of strength that those alumni have also. Then it opens doors beyond education for you, just like I mentioned, the Chebney and the INSEAD. Then it creates future leaders. For the examples I've given, those things, they build you up, because when you go abroad for scholarship, it's not just the academics only that they are looking at there. They build you up to be an international scholar. They build you up to be somebody who is mainly in problem solving. That's the one that's one of the keys in scholarships or studying abroad. You are nurtured to be problem solvers, not just taking in information. You must use that information to study, to be able to meet particular needs. So we want to look at the postgraduate scholarship. Postgraduate scholarship that are available. Don't forget that what we're looking at now is not, most of these things have closed for now, but this information will help you to begin to prepare against next year's entry. Because most scholarships, the few that are left now are in Asia, and most of them are closing in April. Even the ones that just the few ones that opened up in the UK, most of them are closing in April. And because those scholarships, you need to have gotten a university offer. So you can see that the time frame is very short. So this information you are getting is for you to prepare against next year, so that at least you know when to start to prepare and be well equipped, so that by next year you will not miss the timelines that will be there. So for the postgraduate scholarship, you have the Chebney scholarship. Is very popular. The application starts in October. To start in October this year. The ones for this year, the October 26th now. 2026 is for next year, because the ones for this year started in 2025. So interviews are ongoing. I think interviews have been concluded by the end of it will be concluded by the end of March. So you see that, timing. Then you have their Erasmus Mundus. These are scholarships that are based in Europe. So many of them. You have the Magma scholarship. You have the Magma scholarship for arts and culture. These ones, remember we said some scholarship are subject based. The Magma scholarship is arts and culture. The MESPOM is for environmental science. These are mainly in Europe. Then you have the Europe health. These ones are mainly for health sciences, nursing, occupational health, and all of anything in the medicals. That's where you find them. Then you have the Intermat network. These ones are also in Europe, maths and engineering. Then you have the global studies, the EMGS global studies. These are all very particular, scholarships that are predominant in Europe, and they come from £5,000 partial to full scholarships, depending on which country you are applying to. Then you also have the University of Edinburgh is offering fully funded scholarship. You can see that the deadline there is very near. So for next year, you prepare early. They start to apply from December 12th is the date. They start to apply for that, and it closes 31st of March. So you begin to prepare yourself. Then the island government is opening up too in Ireland. So the scholarship is available in Ireland for you to apply for. I'm sure by the time we finish, they will be able to send you. If you go back, you will be able to see the links where you can apply, so that you can have them written down somewhere, and you can, equip yourself with that. Then educations.com scholarships, they are available also. There are some programs in France and other EU schools that offer country funded schemes, like the EFL scholarship. But don't forget that some of these countries, language, you will fall for do a 6 months to 1 year language program. So we want to also look at other scholarships. You have the Zurich Excellence Masters in Italy. You have the University of Camarillo. You have the Marche Polytechnic University. University of Luxembourg. Luxembourg is giving scholarship, fully funded scholarship for students. So for this year now, it has closed. So next year, equip yourself. Luxembourg, we all know Luxembourg is about the richest country in the world now. Small country, but very rich, and well put together. Then you have scholarships in UAE, you have scholarships in Saudi Arabia, you have scholarships, in Oman. Those are mainly their medical, science, and computer scholarships. That's what those ones normally give. The Mohammed bin Zayed is mainly science scholarship. And in all this, what determines your destination? Because we said that for everybody, there's a scholarship for that fits you in terms of what you are going to study, and in terms of your adaptability to the country. You must know yourself to know where you can survive. For some of us, for me now, I know that cold is not my friend. So if you are going to go for scholarship in a country, because you want to be, it's not just going for, you also want to be comfortable, you want to enjoy your study. Because don't forget that as a student, you are also allowed to work. But if the weather is not too good for you, how are you going to work? So you must choose that place that is, that that you have looked at the temperature, you can adapt, you can cope, or whatever. Well, there's no temperature you can't cope if you layer your clothing. But most importantly, you want to be comfortable where you are. Then for some people also, family and friends is a support system for them. It's good to be close to family, so that it's not too lonely for you. You know yourself, so you know what will work well for you. Then your best university of choice for study. Then you must do a rating. Then you must check about the work prospects for what you have studied, the degree you are getting. What is the work prospects for the future? Then most times, what are the elements of the scholarship that makes it attractive? Is there internship? Is there mentorship? Is there placement opportunities? So that the things that will help you. Because you see, if you do like a science course or a computer or engineering course, and there's no work placement, and then you come out and then you begin to apply, and they are looking for work experience, you already see that you're at a disadvantage there. So when you are putting in for a course, make sure that he has internship, mentorship, or placement opportunities. What this helps you to do is that those things, those places where you have done internship, they normally give recommendation to you, or they give you a referral letter. That already stands as a work experience for you. So you must have that at the back of your mind. It's not just to go and study. Look at what that study is going to entail. Is it going to have an internship? Is it going to have a mentorship program? Is it going to have a placement opportunity? Because there's some courses that will need you to go into the field. So be very careful about that. Make sure that you are checking through all those things. They're very important. Then the ratings and the rankings, the university that you are going to, what are the ratings, what are the rankings? You don't want to go to a university that they have to begin to do a special check before they find it out. So there are scholarships and there are scholarships. It's not just to get a scholarship you want to study for free. Make sure that the university has a ranking, has a good ranking outside there. Then the immigration considerations. Well, we are Nigerians. I know that most of us don't want to come back. But don't forget, if you go for a Chevening scholarship, you will come back. You are expected to come back. So read the conditions of your scholarship also. It's important. If you go for Chevening scholarship, you must return. So if you get any other scholarship that doesn't put, a peg on it, whether you're coming back or not, check the country. What are the immigration considerations there? What are the immigration considerations? For example, we know that maybe 2 3 years ago, after your study in the UK, you could stay for 2 years. Now it is 18 months. There's a new law that is going to come up now in April that reduces it to 1 year. So you must find out what are the progressions for immigration after your study. You must find that out. And then also within that also, because you are on scholarship, you are allowed to work, but how many hours? So don't think that every need will be met by the mere 20 hours work that you are required to legally. So you must know all that also. And then also, uh, you would also be able to find out what the prevailing immigration pathways are in that country. Don't wait till graduation before you begin to do that. As soon as you begin your study, begin to find out from your student affairs counselor. Your Every department has a student counselor where you can go there and talk to them. What are these? Find out what the immigration procedures and pathways that are open to international students, so that you begin to work towards it. If you need to have points, if you need to have a certain amount of money and all of that, you need to begin to find that out. Don't forget that you are postgraduate student, you are not undergraduate student. So you are postgraduate, and they expect you are matured student who should at least know one of those things also. Then what are the general requirements? For the undergraduate, last week we talked about personal statement, but for postgraduate, you must have a strong what they call it, SOP, statement of purpose. You must have a strong statement of purpose, because nobody's asking you for personal statement to tell them, because they know that that's not your level. A strong statement of purpose, what you are going to study, how does it help, how is it going to help humanity, you know what is that study going to, what progression is that study going to give you? If you are going for a master's, for example, what progression will it give you in a postgraduate study? I mean in a PhD or in a doctorate, if you want to further. Those are the things that you will put in that your statement of purpose. And then you will have all your transcripts, you will have a CV. If you are going to Europe, make sure you get a European compliant CV. If you are going to Asia, find out how the CVs are written in Asia, in Asian countries. So you must do your background work. It's not every CV that is compliant everywhere. I'm sure you know that by now. So make sure that your CV is up to date, is compliant. And don't forget that there are some things that are not no longer necessary in your CV. So do your homework, prepare a CV that is compliant with where it is you are going to. Then some people might need a language proficiency test too. That's either it is IELTS or it is TOEFL, depending on, on what your admission requirements say. Then work experience with good references. If you have done work experience, get references from your employers. I know some people, they might not tell their employers that they are putting in to go and study abroad. Well, maybe you will. If you don't want to tell your employers, you must have a head of department or something that you can confide in, because those things add up for you. It makes your application, robust. So you must have a reference, because if your CV says you have worked somewhere and there's no reference to show for it, then it might be a problem. So have reference. Then skill acquisition is important. I'm sure you know that in the interview of today, nobody wants to. Yes, they've seen all your degrees, but they want to know what you can do. So get a skill. It will help you, especially when you go abroad. It helps you even in survival times. You find that is where you will survive from most times. And then you must have a passport, obviously. Then apply early and apply wide. Some people will tell you they applied for 30 scholarships before they finally got the one they wanted. Apply early and apply wide. Now that we have told you that, okay, this and this and this, they are what is available, these are their timelines, it's time for you to begin to prepare now. You will think October, November is far away. We are already in the third month, going to the fourth month. Begin to prepare. Get your CV ready. Get your personal your statement of purpose ready. You can try. Don't do ChatGPT all through. Use ChatGPT to get a format, at least to give you, you know what the introduction will be, what the body will be, and the conclusion, at least a guideline. But don't do verbatim from ChatGPT, please, because these days you don't want to be caught in plagiarism and the rest of them. But please, let ChatGPT help you, but write it from the. You find that what you write from the bottom of your heart, from your, is going to be convincing enough. But make sure it is true. Don't put what you have not done there. Or it's not. Don't do that. Put it. Make it as simple as possible, but at least make sure that it is well composed also. So with all that we have mentioned today, so that we can give time for questions, because questioning it. But I want to add one simple thing, because for the people who have been contacting me, I want to kind of debunk some misconceptions. The fact that it's a scholarship doesn't mean that if a university has registration fee, you will not pay. Remember, your scholarship comes after you have gotten admission. Your scholarship will be paid after you have gotten admission. It's only in some countries that, okay, a particular university gives a scholarship, but generally, most times, for example, the Chebney scholarship, you would have gotten an offer. The same thing, you must get an offer first, and most offers you will pay a registration fee, maybe 100, 200, 300, $400. And then after that, there's a processing that goes into it. Then don't forget that wherever it is you are going, you must organize for pickup from the airport. It is not here that you will book Uber and then you don't know where you are going. They have universities that come to the airport to pick you up, because you don't know the exact place you are going to. So those are the expenses that you will need to incur. Even if you do get a scholarship, the scholarship, don't forget, takes care of your tuition, your living expenses, and your health insurance. But it doesn't say that it would pay your university registration fee. No. So don't, please have that at the back of your mind, that there are some costs that you will incur. But of course, if you are getting a scholarship of 34 to 40,000 dollars, and you are asked to pay maybe $2,000 for something, I think the ratio of it is very minimal. So don't just think it's an all free, expense, whatever, like that. So I just wanted to chip that in, because I noticed that was the trend in the few people that I dealt with, that had coming to inquire. Yes, so we will take questions. If you have questions, please, Angela. Help us.
Okay. I have someone who has dropped a question who is asking, yes, everything you've said is interesting, but how do they know? Where do they see? If, okay, yes, we have trip solutions as a consultant we can talk to, but let's assume someone does not know a trip solution. How do they hear about these scholarships? Where can they check? How do they search and know about scholarships?
Okay. If you go online, for example, if you go online, for example, remember all I've mentioned here now, most times the government of these countries have these scholarships. So go online, go to the government of Ireland, check scholarship opportunities. You will see it there. Where they have scholarships, they will let you know what are the conditions for the scholarship. It will be written there. How you will apply, it will be written there. If you need, there are some places that you might need to notarize your documents, they will put it there. Notarized documents and all of that for acceptance. So it's not the world has become a global village. Nothing is hidden anymore. Go online, check the government of Scotland. I mentioned University of Edinburgh now. Put it there. Ashton University has scholarship. Just Google it. You will find the link there. It will tell you what the process is and all of that. Where you might have some issues, where you will need a professional, is there are some scholarships that they tie to particular how do I'm looking for the right word to use now. Like for example now, the scholarships in Asia, there's a particular body that handles all scholarships in Asia. It is after that body has done this, that has after that body has looked through your papers and given you a university, that you can then go to the embassy to, they are the ones who will send the letter to the embassy for you to go and do your visa. So that I know about Asia. There's a particular body, they call them the SICA group, SIAC, the SIACA group. Those ones are the ones that handle all scholarships, especially in China and in Japan and in China. Those two countries, they handle their. So except they are different, but mainly in Europe, just go online, check, you will find it there. Whatever it is you need, you can Google it, you check, and follow the instructions. That is very important. Follow the instructions, try and meet the deadlines. And like I said, if something is ending in March and you are just starting in April, some people have started earlier than you, so I don't think you will fall into. That's why you are getting this information now. For next year, begin to prepare your what basic documents to prepare. Begin to prepare your documents and then begin to go online. Some people have heard applied for 30 before they got one. So apply wide. Don't limit yourself. Apply wide and apply early too, so that you are able to get the choice ones that you want. Because if you apply at this time now, it is what is left that you will just get. But apply early and apply wide also.
Okay, thank you so much, Mrs. Lolade. Just to chip into what you have said, we've had students abroad. Something a lot of them miss. You're in schools abroad already. You've gotten a small scholarship that took you there, but people don't seem to realize that even in the school where you are, there are still opportunities. And they
Yes.
said, listen, you can apply for scholarships. You get 500 here, 1,000 here, 200 here,
It always
because
adds
there are
up.
different organizations that say, oh, I have this for international students especially. Can you speak more on those kind of scholarships? Because yes, I know I have a child who has experienced it, but from your own professional level, can you speak more on those type of scholarships?
You know what happens abroad is that they are very good at giving. So you might have one company that has put one money aside, just like we have CSR here. We have companies who have put some money aside, that okay, this money is for students who will need maybe to pay a bit of their tuition, to do one thing or the other in the university, and they attach it to a particular university. It's very common in the US. It's very common in some
Yes.
universities in Europe too. For example, BMW has a scholarship fund in Germany. Mercedes has the same thing, that they just put it there for international students who might at one time or the other, maybe you didn't even come with scholarship, but at a point in time you find yourself stuck. You find that there was a year that I think there were students from Nigeria who were, I think they were from I can't remember the country. I think there were some from the north and some from was it Bayelsa State or River State now, who were on scholarship. But all of a sudden the government cancelled the scholarship, so they were stuck. Those were the kind of scholarships that the school drew from, to help them, meet up with especially their tuition. They are always very key on tuition. They will help you with tuition, but whatever living expenses, they know that you are entitled to work, a couple of hours so that you can meet up with that. So that's what those are what, and you can only get that from the student, we call it student union here, but they call it the counseling, um the student counselor over there. You should always meet your student counselor in school. They are the ones who have this information. They are the ones who can guide you in this, and there are a lot of them available in school. It might not be full, but they will help you along the way. So always consult them when you need those kind of things. They are always available in those schools.
There are two questions here for you, ma'am. And the
Yes.
first one says, I'll just get the two of them together. It says, how often does fully funded scholarships come up? That's the first one. And then the second one is asking, beyond financial support, how do scholarships contribute to personal and professional development?
Oh, like we said before, maybe you joined in late. We said whatever, there are some schools that have attached to their programs internships, mentorship, and work placement opportunities. So aside from the monetary of paying your tuition or paying your whatever, you have internship, you have mentorship programs, and you also have, work placement opportunities. So it all depends on the university that you have chosen and what opportunities are there. But you find that depending on your field, if you are in the engineering field, it's a given, you must have internship. If you are in the engineering, like computer based or whatever, you must have. And the same way, if you are in the medical sciences, you must have, a work placement, because you need that, experience, that practical experience for your this thing. And then the first question was about how often do we have fully funded
Often.
scholarships.
Yes,
Fully
ma'am.
funded scholarships are even more common than partial. They might not be, they might not be as many as partial, but they are there. You get them. The same school that offers partial will also offer full, but it now determines, some put a peg to, they can only give 2-1. There are some like that they will say, okay, if you are 2-1, if you are first class, they will give you full scholarship. So
Mhm.
it's for you to find out, what are the requirements for that university for for full scholarship, and what are the requirements for partial scholarships.
Okay. I have another question here. Someone is saying, why do countries that know Nigeria is an English speaking country ask people for language tests?
um Gradually, it's not becoming, it's not very common again, because it's getting to, it's now common knowledge that our language of instruction in Nigeria is English. But be that may, some also want to, because I think, I don't know why, but I want to say that, because I was speaking, well, there was a seminar at the British Council at a time, and they were talking about having students from African countries, even Nigeria, that is English speaking. They have them, their written whatever was not very good. That's why you find out that even the IELTS and the TOEFL now has been broken down into computer based whatever, so that they help to determine where your strength, really lies, so that when you go into school you are able to. So what happens mainly is that this English testing, some people still require it. I know that Canada has not backed down on it. Canada requires it. Canada will always require it. It's a very expensive venture, but I know the UK, they don't have a problem with it. Once you have a C in English, they are good. But I know in Asia too, they don't require English language testing, especially if all your whatever is in English, they will accept you like that. But there are some European countries that will still take, IELTS or TOEFL for a particular grade. I think the lowest they can take is 6 all round. So it's to find out also which university, if you don't want to take IELTS or TOEFL, find out the requirement. It's not all universities that take it, some don't. So find out if that university is particular about it or not, so that you can know where to stand and what to do. And if you do IELTS, it's valid for 3 years, so it's still good.
Okay. Another good question I'm seeing here. I am in year three, second semester, and I would like to do my master's abroad. When should I start looking for scholarship opportunities? The person is saying they're in the second semester of year three and would like to do their scholarship, have them do their postgraduate studies abroad. When should they start applying or looking for opportunities? I would add, should it be after they do their NYC, when they're in final year? When is the best time for this? Well, I think Mrs. Okorie is hanging at this time. I would like to invite Mrs. Ajose Adeogun, who also has had serious experience with scholarship programs in Nigeria. She's the managing partner of TISU Consulting. While we await Mrs. Okorie to come back, can we please invite Mrs. Ajose Adeogun to speak to us about scholarship opportunities in Nigeria with some of the organizations that have them for students? Thank you so much, ma'am.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yes. While there are scholarship opportunities globally, we also need to realize that locally, there are opportunities that people who are here can harness. Mrs. Okore had talked about CSRO. In Nigeria, there's quite a lot of CSRO scholarships, which are for both local and international students. So you have the Chevron Overseas Scholarship, you have Mobile Overseas Scholarship, you have Shell Overseas Scholarship, Renaissance Energy that has just come on board now is doing scholarships, NLNG has scholarships, NDDC has scholarships. So most of these international and indigenous oil producing companies, they all have their international scholarships for postgraduate studies. And most of the time it is for the STEM areas, science,
Technology.
technology, engineering, mathematics. So if you are in any of those courses and you made a 2-1 or a first class, it's clear. Those are the people that they consider for their scholarships, and it is 100% based on merits. The scholarships are oversubscribed on a yearly basis, so it is very stringent. It is very competitive.
Competitive.
Only the best are taken. And all of these scholarships, most of the time, they provide 100% scholarship. So it covers your tuition, it covers your feeding, it covers your travel, it covers your allowances.
Accommodation.
Yes, in UK, there's something that is actually called the UK overseas
Yeah,
living
living
expenses.
expenses
Yes.
rate. Yeah.
So, and it varies from place to place based on how expensive the place is. I think the highest cost is in London. So many of these oil companies follow that rating. So you find out that even the allowances you get for your living expenses is more than most parents will give to their children that they are funding abroad. But it's really, really, really competitive, and you need to be patient. You might do it once, you don't get it, do it a second time. But if you are good enough and with time and preparation, it's
Yeah.
definitely open based on merit, and it pays 100% of all your costs. So those are also scholarships that are available in country that we can aspire to get and that will take us abroad.
Abroad.
Many people that are in that come from communities where oil is being produced, you have an oil field in your community and all of that, you are given a special branch of scholarship and you are given preference even in these areas. So you should definitely apply for them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Joseph Diogun. Mrs. Lorde is back. This is a question that I think both of you can also speak to. The last question, someone was asking a question. I'm in year three, second semester, and I'd like to do my postgraduate studies outside the country. At which point should I start applying? Should it be in my final year? Should it be when I've done my NYC? When is the best time for me to start applying?
Okay, if you're in your third year, I don't how many years left for you? Can be in
One
third
more year.
year.
The person is in third year, second semester, so the final year remaining. Then we have NYSC. At which
Okay.
point would you advise that person to start applying?
It's best you apply during your NYSC. During your NYSC, apply, because you still have, with NYSC you have almost 2 years left. So apply during your NYSC. Take time to do that application during your NYSC so that at least you can give yourself time. But meanwhile,
Mrs. Ajosodogun, please can you speak on that topic also? If there is there something you want to add with what you've experienced?
Um, because most, if you schooled in Nigeria, you got your first degree in Nigeria, it is expected that you do NYSC. And if you go and apply for a scholarship, you will need to defer it if you can't go that very year. So it's not a good plan for you to apply too early. Apply early enough for the year that you can resume school. So like Madam Mrs. Okore said, apply during your NYSC, but apply early and on
early.
time. So if you are
Yeah.
planning to apply for next year, September, you can start doing all your research today,
Yes.
applying to the schools, because you can start applying for 2027-28 sessions from now.
Don't.
So there's
Yes.
nothing stopping you from doing that.
Yes. Yes.
Someone is asking if I get a state scholarship in one of the European countries and I'm halfway through my program in one university, I need to change. Can that scholarship be transferred?
Well, it depends on the type of scholarship. There's a scholarship in Europe that encompasses 5 countries. That's the Erasmus Mundus. So if that's the kind of scholarship you have, yes, you can switch between the European countries, but you have to be. That's why I said know the requirements for the scholarship that you have gotten. Every scholarship has its requirements. It has its recommendations on it. So check, be sure that you can move, you know, within universities. Be sure of it before you take that step, so that you don't lose it entirely. You don't want to lose your scholarship, so be sure that you know what the conditions for.
Mrs. Okore, can you hear us?
Oh, sorry, I was muted. Sorry, I didn't know. Okay, so I said
Yes.
find out the conditions for your scholarship, because when you know what the condition of your scholarship is. I know that the Erasmus Erasmus Mundus scholarship in Europe, you can go within countries in Europe. That is there's a provision for that, but you must find out what the provision for your scholarship is, so that you don't lose it. So when you get the scholarship, or when you as you are applying, if that is what you want to do, you must make sure that it falls within the conditions of that scholarship you are applying for, so that you can do that.
Another question here. We're talking about scholarships in Europe and Asia. Must I speak their language, or do they teach in English? Because
Yes,
we have the countries say we must
yes,
qualify
for
with
every
IELTS.
yes,
Do
for
those
every
countries
country.
insist I understand their
you
languages?
Yes, there are some countries that will tell you you will do 6 months language inclusion. There are some that they will tell you this scholarship, English and German, you will see it there. All of that you will see it, on the course. That's It's not the scholarship now, it's on the course you are studying. You will see if it's English taught only, or English and German. You will see it there, or English and Mandarin or something. You will always see it beside the courses that are available. So whichever course you are choosing, be sure that if you don't want to learn the language compulsorily, sometimes it's an extra 1 year or 6 months. If you don't want to learn the language of the place, then you should also go for only courses that are English taught, so that you don't have that problem.
Thank you, Mrs. Okori. And I think the final question we'll have here, someone is asking that last time they were asked to apply through the consultant. They want to have an idea if we're going through the consultant, what does it cost them?
Okay. If, for example, like those who came now, they came through, those of them who were specific about the Asian scholarships. Like I told them, there's a registration. I mentioned the body now, the sick the let me just say the real name of the body now. The body that handles the Asian scholarship, they are called SICAC. SICAAC. That's the body that handles all Asian scholarships, right? They have a body like that that handles all Asian scholarship, and they have a registration fee. They have a registration fee, and they will also do airport pickup. It's optional. If you want it, if you don't want it, you don't. So they have a cost on their own, like that you will have to remember. I said some universities have a registration fee that you need to pay. So for them, I will just find out what the total cost is. I think it's between $1,000. I will just confirm that, so I will tell the consultants so that they can also let people know. So that is just the fee. But in Europe specifically, most times you don't need to pay anything aside, except if the university, some universities have maybe like a 50 euro or a 100 euro application fee. But for Asia, I know since you have to go through the scholarship body, so through the body that handles their scholarship, you must need to pay. So because they are the ones who will also contact the embassy on your behalf.
Yes. I guess that's the question the person is asking because, as you rightly said, people can actually go on the websites of these organizations, the schools,
Yes,
and all that,
yes,
and apply by themselves. But
themselves.
there's some
Yes.
people who may say, "Listen, I don't want to make a mistake, so I would want to come through a Trip Solutions, for example, to guide me or help me do this." So, what kind of payments are they looking at if they have to go through a Trip Solution who is going to guide them through this process?
Well, the only thing you will pay Trip Solution is like a service charge for our services. That's all.
Okay.
The service
So
charge
there
for
is a service
services.
charge if they have to
Yes,
walk through you,
yes.
but we're also saying here that they can actually go ahead by themselves and do the heavy lifting if they can.
I think,
I think her system, her network is a
yes.
bit
So
off.
what I want to say is there is no one size fits all in terms of charges and costs. It actually depends on the specific scholarship and country you are rooting for. So there are countries where you need to pay some high application fees. Other places you don't need to pay an application fee. So the bulk of the payment is based on what is applicable per university and at that time. And the payment to Trip Solutions will be a percentage of whatever all of these costs are.
Good.
They might
Thank you
have
so
a
much. And I see,
registration fee for Trip Solutions, but the specific cost per university, she can't just say, oh, this is the cost, because some universities cost more, some cost less, and it's based on what you are actually applying for.
I think I'll take a final question. I see a question I think is a bit funny. Someone is asking, what are the chances of getting fully sponsored scholarships?
The chances of getting fully sponsored scholarships is based on you meeting the requirements of that particular scholarship. Like she said, we need to approach this with resilience and with an open mind. So you might apply for 30 scholarships and not get any. The next person applies for only one scholarship and gets it. But what we advise is don't ever give up. If you really need this thing, go as wide as possible. Look for all the ones that you qualify to apply for all of them, and then wait for the outcomes. Because at the end of the day, all of these scholarships are based on merit. They don't know everybody that is applying. So you don't say, oh, it's only people that they know that they give. No. So the people that get it are human beings just like you. So come forward with a positive mindset, come forward with resilience, resolute that I'm going to apply and I will get it, and do what it takes to get it. As you are waiting and as you are applying, you will find out things that you need to do. Maybe one course there are online courses that will help you strengthen your skills and all that as you wait. There are voluntary work that you can do that will help you upgrade your CV. As you are waiting, do those things. Don't wait idle. Oh, until I get it, I'm not doing anything. No, continue applying yourself, because in the midst of service, that's where the blessing is found. Thank you.
Mr. Joseph Adeogun, as someone who was in this with Shell, can you actually tell us, is it actually based on merit?
100%, I can tell you. It is based on merit.
No Nigerian factor.
No Nigerian factor. It is based on merit. A lot of times by ourselves, we what's the word I want to use? We limit ourselves, believing that, oh, some of these things are for people who know people. I will bring maybe some of my ex-Shell scholars on board to talk about their experience.
Wonderful.
Yes, it's based on merit. We never knew them before then. But as long as you meet the criteria for the scholarship, you have a fighting chance to get it.
Thank you, Mrs. Ajose Adeogun. It's unfortunate we've lost Mrs. Okorie on the call, but this has really been educative and insightful. I'm happy to hear that we actually have scholarship opportunities in Nigeria that is truly based on merit. And just as you said, a lot of people limit themselves because they think it's not for us, or they know the people they want to give it to. But with the list of the local organizations you've called operating in Nigeria, the Shell, the Mobiles, all the energy organizations that you say do give, I hope our listeners would have taken away some of those names and will go ahead to their websites to check what they have to offer as part of their CSR initiatives. So it's been a wonderful outing again this evening on our 13th edition of our Building Bridges webinar. We're looking forward to meeting ourselves again next month for another insightful topic. Thank you, Mrs. Ajose Adeogun. In absentia, we say a big thank you to Mrs. Lola Okorie for what she has educated us. And as we've said, the link has been shared on YouTube. Please go ahead and look at the link. Go ahead and watch our previous episodes, and then feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions. Thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing you again next time, Mr. Ajose Adeogun. God bless you. And thank you, everyone, for joining today.
Thank you very much, everyone. Have a lovely evening.
Thank you so much. Have a lovely evening.